Aloha, we back, we back, we back. Like we never left. So yesterday I was gonna well no, I did do it, but I try to make these videos like piece by piece and then do the editor and all that stuff. But my phone's storage is so terrible that I can't do all that stuff at one time. Like if y'all saw my Twitter, I showed that my phone was overheating and the storage thing popped up. And while I was waiting for the editor app to load all my editing stuff up to match the video, and all I gotta do is just I have to go in my gallery and just press three, not but I had to press three pictures, and then it says, do you want to mash them up together? So I just do that, and I click, it goes to that app, and then I press save, and then it loads up to 100. But I didn't know I didn't have that much storage left, and it stopped at 89. So I had to cut everything off. Well, the thing cut off automatically, and it reset. The whole editor thing reset. I waited a good 30 something minutes for that one editor piece, just for it to completely cut off because I didn't have enough storage, and it didn't save. I pressed save, I couldn't find it. You know, I went to the little editor section. It was only one video, which was three videos before this. So, of course, I was pissed. I didn't break anything, but all I did was, and that's another reason why I couldn't record yesterday, like record these videos, because by the time I was done everything, it was about 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, ugh, because like my body, it gets to a point, like I literally feel, like I feel compelled to go to sleep. It's like it kind of forces me to shut my body down and all that. And then I don't have an alarm clock, so I just wake up whenever I wake up, which is, I try to wake up at 4 in the morning, but recently I've been waking up at 5 and 6, and that's also a numerology connection. Like I said in my previous video, like waking up at 4 a.m. That's a spiritual time. So, but it's also the time where a lot of high value people wake up, so to get more time in the day or to build up their discipline. Like the people in the military, they wake up around that time. Okay, so this is gonna be a quick little video. This is how to raise your vibration. So we already went over what vibration means. Okay, that definition was vibration, an informal sense of an emotional mood or atmosphere given off by a person, place, or thing, aka high vibrational beings, and some people may be low vibrational beings. But so if you're a low vibrational being, I'm gonna tell you easy ways to raise up your vibration to get to a decent level. So I'm gonna say the other definition of energy. Oh, the vibration. I was gonna say they also call it aura. So I know y'all are probably familiar with that now. They like people. Y'all can probably feel it on me. They say Duke Dennis has aura. Playboy Cardi has aura. I would say Spiritual Soul has aura. DDG has aura. Clavicular has aura. Because they're vibrating high. So, and I'm gonna get into the things that they do. But I can't prove they do it, but I'm pretty sure they do these things. So, how to raise your vibration. Number one is practice gratitude. So, gratitude, that's Gratitude, gratitude. That's pretty much saying thank you and all that. I'll give y'all a black pill thing. Uh, like I said, this black pill stuff is so vulnerable, and it's not really embarrassing, but it's so personal and all that stuff. So if you, yeah, okay, I'll say it. Sure, I'll say it. So when we orgasm as a man or a woman, how to you can have multiple orgasms after you have your first orgasm. So after that first one, you can you can show gratitude to that person by saying thank you a lot. Like saying thank you for, having sex with me good or perfectly and all that stuff. They say thank you all the time. Like if they keep saying thank you, thank you, thank you, you're gonna orgasm again. I know that sounds crazy, but if you try it and if you tell somebody to tell you that, you'll feel it. Like it's literally, it's like a y'all know how orgasm feels. I pray to God. Not let me say that. But if you orgasm and after that first orgasm, and that's why I don't like condoms and having sex nowadays, because I've ascended to a point where you can have multiple orgasms. But then if you have multiple orgasms in a woman, you're gonna come in them. So then they're gonna have a baby. So then you're fucked. But I hate to say you're fucked, but it's like no pun intended. But if she, what was it? They call it talking you through it. Talking it through your orgasm. So I definitely recommend y'all try that out. Like I said, I'm not going to get into that, but showing gratitude, showing gratitude during sex, that you have multiple orgasms. So, okay, let's get back into the video of how to raise your vibration. Like I said, I'm the Kennard Economy, and I'm a Black Pill influencer. So enjoy that nugget. So, how to raise your vibration? Practice gratitude. I can search up that word. You can dance freestyle. Y'all see how I be dancing for fun and all that? That raises your vibration. Like I'm not doing that for shits and giggles. You know what I mean? Well, it raises your vibration. So yes, giggles. But dance freestyling. Just dancing and all that stuff. Like how I be doing. Playing your favorite music. So once again, that's practice gratitude, dance freestyling. So you don't even have to have dance moves. You don't even have to learn how to dance. You can probably see how people be dancing all crazy. Like y'all be seeing white people, they they just be all sporadic and all that. So that raises their vibration, whether they know it or not. It's just fun to dance. That's why they say they have this thing called dance like nobody's watching, or dancing in the dark. If you, especially dancing in the dark, like if you're in a dark room and you're listening to your favorite music, you could just dance sporadically and all that. And once again, dancing, you could do a warrior dance, you can a happy dance, your celebration dance. Like how they do on like in NFL, like when they make a touchdown, they don't even let them do that type of stuff, but they do it a little bit. But I guess they call that showboating, and that would actually make the other team mad, and it will be more intense, which will make it fun. But it would look like that PlayStation 2 game called Blitz. You know what I'm saying? Or NFL Street. So those are my type of games. They don't make games like that anymore. So that's unfortunate. If I had the money, I would. But like I said, in my areas, we used to play those type of games, but we actually would play them on the street. I learned how to jump over people. I learned how to juke. I learned how to run on walls while while literally running with the football. I surprised a lot of people with that. So if y'all want to look at that game, it's called NFL Street. So number 1 was practice gratitude, dance freestyle. The third one is sing loud and proud. So I'm not going to sing on here, but maybe that'll be a separate video. Because I wanted to do like rock band, and that's why I recommend karaoke. So that's singing loud and proud. Doing that karaoke, they have a karaoke bar at the National Harbor. I forgot what it's called, but because I've never been, but I see it because I walk around there. Like I said, I don't go to these places unless I'm balling. You know what I mean? And I recommend y'all do that too. But just to go out, I walk around there, because they have a trail, which I showed y'all in my video, mini vacation. Like it's a Tanger outlet, and then it's a National Harbor. So singing loud and proud. So like any way you want it, that's the way you need it. You know, that type of stuff. And she is like, she said, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, that type of things. But you should raise your voice. You should sing at the loudest forms. I kind of wanted to do a video of me yelling, but it's I know that sounds crazy, but it's a science to it. You know, like cursing and all that. So that's sing loud and proud. And I recommend positive music. But you can listen to some songs that y'all could check out my video where I showed that song Rebel Girl, like those rock band songs, Rebel Girl, Girls Not Gray, and PDA by Interpol. So it was those three songs y'all could check out. So, and once again, y'all should already have looked at that video. Y'all should be looking at this like a series, like a Netflix series, an anime series, or something like that. Because that's kind of what seasons are. You know, I'm making these 1 hour things. It's almost like looking at TV. You're almost looking at a reality show, except nobody's with me, unfortunately. So practice gratitude, dance freestyle, sing loud and proud. And eventually, if y'all want, we could all meet up. We could do freestyle dances. We could sing loud and proud and all that stuff. Because in, sure, I'll say it. So the homie Stephen Greer, he has this UFO program where he meets up with people in a place called Arizona. Well, the state Arizona. Y'all know what Arizona is. But there's a certain place in Arizona and place in every state that you can meet up with aliens and all that stuff. So they do like dances. They sit on this weird rock and meditate. Like they be all in one group, and it's not a cult, you know. It's just a bunch of UFO enthu what's the word, enthusiasts, and they all meet up and they do their spiritual practices, and they literally summon a being, an alien being. I swear to God, they even showed it. You know, y'all can look on DJ Vlad. He was on there, and he actually showed DJ Vlad a picture, and y'all can't really see it because it's blurry. But if you really look at it, like you have to really stare at the photo. I mean, if you just look at it, you can see the being, but you have to really see it. It's a translucent being. So I'm not saying we can do that, like us. If y'all want to, we can, but I'm not at that level yet. But that's not true. I'm at that level. I don't know the rituals. You know what I mean? Because I don't really need to talk to them. Why would I need to talk to an alien for? So, like I said, if y'all want, eventually, like if I get enough likes and views and all that stuff, and once I get on the paid partner program and all that stuff, we can meet up and all that. I don't really want to do memberships and all that weirdo stuff. I just want to put these ads in and make a couple dollars. That's all. But like I said, it's if we all come to that agreement of all those videos, we can meet up and all that. Of course, in my hometown, of course, of Maryland, because I'm a Maryland national, Native American. Or we can meet up in D.C. That's the only place. And I just happen to have that on my birth certificate. We can't meet up in the hood, though. Unfortunately, we cannot meet up in the hoods of D.C. because, like I said, in a long video that I made a couple days ago, saying, "Are you aware of the Civil War?" It's ridiculous over there. Like it's literally like war. It's literally war over there. So just chilling at those apartments, we could all be chilling. Next thing you know, gunshots go off, and it's like, I'm not gonna be scared, but I don't want to put y'all in harm's way. You know what I'm saying? And I don't be out in DC unless I'm in the. Well, I don't even go to DC like that for real. I mean, I only been there 3 times, and that was just to explore it because I had a car, still have a car. But funny enough, I just went to go exploring DC twice. I got a 200 and not and but I got a $250 ticket for driving just a few miles over the speed limit. They had an invisible camera, well not invisible, but they had a camera that was in the cut and it caught me. But I didn't, because in PG, our PG cameras aren't that literal. Their cameras are literal. If you aren't going 25 miles per hour down a fucking hill, you will get hit with a $250 speeding ticket. And then the next time I went to DC, which was a couple months afterwards, I went to go see the monuments and everything to drive in that area because DC is such a vibe. But I ended up like I was just freestyle driving. I ended up near Capitol Hill, I believe, and it was a police on a motorcycle, and I wasn't knowing. I didn't see him. He was in the cut. He caught me. Had to pay another ticket. I didn't have my driver's license on me because I lost it. But I just happened to have my passport and birth certificate and all that garbage. Not garbage, but all that stuff. Identification. So, and that was a $75 ticket and all that. So just off those two times I went to DC, that's over $300. And that wasn't even spending. That wasn't even having fun. That was just me driving in the car for about 30 minutes. But shout out DC though. I still love that area. It's such a vibe. Even being in the hood is a vibe. So RP Fat Swag, who just passed away, and that passed away. He was brutally murdered. So that's really sad. I'm not crying or nothing, but once again, that's another Native American. You know what I mean? Like all those people from DC, y'all can see. That's literally like even though we don't look like that, that's still us. You know what I mean? That's why I really feel compelled to live in DC. Once again, that's the heart of America. So once again, that's practice gratitude, dance freestyling, singing loud and proud. Next is going vegan, is what I somewhat do, but I'm so skinny. I'm so skinny. I gotta eat full meals. You know what I mean? Like I showed y'all my full meal that I ate. It was the green beans, the brown rice, and the chicken wings, 3 chicken wings. Because I had a girlfriend from Louisiana, New Orleans. She said she doesn't eat meat that has the bone in it. I didn't know what she was talking about until I stopped eating meat, and then I went back to chicken and all that stuff. It's kind of hard to eat stuff with a bone in it. It's like it's kind of gross because it has like the ligaments, the fat, and all that. It's like ugh. And do you see how that stuff is really made? And I don't know how to cook, so I see that type of stuff when it's like already made. But then when I see it like when it's starting to cook the food, it has this bloody packaging and all that. But it's called like psilocybin or something like that. It preserves the meat. Like it's not really blood. It's so gross. It's so gross. And you go to Giant, you can see pig feet. If you go to a place called Jumbo Food, that was the first time. Well, that was the second time I seen a hog, a full pig, like with the apple in its mouth. Like on the cartoons and all that stuff. I thought people were bullshitting. But I had a Filipino friend, well, Filipino friends, but she brought a whole hog to the high school something I don't remember, some high school event. They brought a whole hog, and we eat ham, so technically that's ham. But they had the whole joint like on a platter. I was like, what? But I was a vegan at the time. I was, it still blew my mind seeing a whole pig like that. That was the first time I ever seen that in my life. That wasn't a cartoon. And then my homies Kevin and Mark, who live a few doors down from me, are Filipinos. That was the first time I had, I believe it was crawfish. They keep the head on. I think they do that in New Orleans too. Not I know they do that in New Orleans. But specifically, the first time I seen it was with Filipinos. They eat it whole, like they suck the brain out of the crawfish, which is mind blowing. I didn't do that part. I did eat the crawfish, but I didn't eat the head and all that. I treated it like it was shrimp. And speaking of shrimp, people also eat shrimp with the head on it and the eyes and all that. That's rough. That's some savage stuff. Very barbaric. That's why it's important not to go to war with these people because they gonna be on some other shit. Y'all could see Vietnam. They was in the trees. They was in the bushes. I mean, in the grass, in the tall grass. They were. putting these awful booby traps on us to make sure that we didn't die, but to make sure that we were liabilities to their team and all that. And even worse, they were doing something called kamikazes. They were literally in the airplanes, and it will, like that. And they also had this thing called bonsai, where they didn't give a fuck. They was on their long. They had long rifles with a knife on it, and they was just rushing everybody. So they was really going hard, but we went a little harder. So hoorah! So once again, that's go vegan. So going vegan is higher than going vegetarian, because vegetarians, they still eat eggs and they still eat things that were raised from an animal. You know what I mean? They can't drink milk. Can't drink dairy. They got to eat tofu. Like I said, I never ate the tofu. All I did was I ate Impossible meat, which is delicious. It's very, very good if you cook it correctly. Impossible burgers, Impossible chicken strips, Impossible ribs. Like a lot of people don't believe in that stuff. It's plant based. Like it's made out of vegetables, which is, I don't know how that's possible. But there's also conspiracy theory where they said I hate to say this, but they say it's made out of human meat possibly. So that's kind of why I stopped eating. That's kind of why I specifically stopped eating Impossible meat and all that, and just eat vegetables and mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and all that. But I would even go further. I think mac and cheese is considered dairy, right? Holy, I wish I could zoom in on that. That's like I said, I'm near the Air Force Base. I guess I can't even show it. It was a helicopter, like a real good helicopter. Like I wish I could catch it sometimes. It'd be like those big planes. I can't even describe it. I don't want to say the wrong name, and I don't want to draw attention to stuff like that. Cause they be coming through, man. They be like 3 helicopters. You can see the president's plane. If you go to the National Harbors, you can see the president's plane sometimes. It's like a light blue one. And it'd be like Air Force One or something like that. Like as I said, like I'm literally about, if I drive, it's literally 5 minutes from me. It's right across the street from I was gonna say the Red Roof. It's the Motel 6. So once again, RIP to all my DC national people, my DC Native Americans. It was this dude named, how do I forget his name, bro? Moneybag KZ. His name was Moneybag KZ. He was beefing with somebody named, and RP him, another Native American. His name was Semi Homie. They was beefing very, very heavy, and Moneybag KZ thought it was like sweet over here. I guess he once again he thought it was the suburbs, and it is, but once again, the people turned it into the hood. Somebody murdered him over there at the Motel 6. So, because there's a known. I'm not gonna snitch. Yeah, I consider that, once again, they call that tipping. They call it being hot. So I'm not gonna say. But there are hoods over there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what happened, but RP him though. Because like I said, I'm in the heart of America. I'm in the heart of like all the famous rappers. Little Dude, Zan Man, Big Flock, RP, my Maryland national homie. Well, he's not my homie. I don't know him, but Gunu, who passed away, was murdered, and they still didn't find the killers. You know, I think, I think I fought his brother. I forget his name, Money Reek, on accident. Like I think I accidentally fought him. Not accidentally fought him, but like I didn't know he was like a somebody famous. Because I was working at a place that's not around anymore. It's permanently closed, and they switched locations. But I used to do pizza delivery, and I was in the store, and I was just chilling. I was filling up the soda machines, and I seen Money Reek. I didn't used to listen to DMV music at the time, so I guess he was somebody famous. I didn't know, but it was him and somebody else that was there, and they were laughing, and I thought they were laughing at me. So I said, "What's funny?" And I guess those were fighting words. He was like, "What?" And I said, "What's funny?" And he said, "You want to step outside?" I said, "Yeah." And then we got it on just like that. We fought. They broke it up. You know. So, but it was so quick. He was grabbing on me and all that. So I had to punch him in the back of the head and all that. So, Money Reek, if you see this, shout out you. It's no beef, of course, but And, I, and it was so crazy. I was looking crazy. I looked like a skater. I was brawling like crazy. I was in green Vans. I was in Adidas pants and green Vans, which is hilarious. And surprisingly, those are good fighting shoes. And I believe that's why they wear Vans out California. I mean, the skateboard, of course, but a lot of the gangsters, a lot of the gangs, a lot of those hood dudes, they wear Vans and Chuck Taylors because they have like that gum grip on the bottom, so you can like move. You won't slip and fall and all that. Also, shout out my homie. I won't say his name because he's an OG, but he told me don't wear slides while doing pizza delivery. I was like, why? He was like, just in case if you get into some issues, you won't be slipping. Because in jail they call that shower shoes. So and if you fighting in jail, if you they fight to the death, you know what I mean? And that's how I do now. I'm not doing we ain't doing no bar brawling and all that. I'm trying to take your ear, your nose, an eye, or something like that. So, because I only weigh about 140, I only eat once a day, because I try to keep my vibration high, by going vegan, vegetarian. And then once again, knowing what I know, like the conspiracy theories really messed us up and we can't really prove it. And we can't prove them. So it's like, ugh. And at the very least, if you see how all this stuff is, like the warehouses, like that's perfect. The warehouses, they make the animals sad, and that's lowering their vibration because even animals have vibration. So if you eat this meat, you eating that meat will make you feel sad because that was a living being and you're pretty much eating them, and before they died they was like in a state of panic. They was, if you look at some of these documentaries, the pigs are crying and they're beating on the pigs and all that stuff to make them fall in line and all that. It's very, very awful, man. It's very, very, that stuff makes me very, very sad, puts me in a low vibration, you feel me? So that's going vegan. See, now I'm tearing up and all that. So now I can't hold on. I'm not gonna stop the video. But I'll repeat all those animals, So that's going vegan. Next is soak in Epsom salt baths. So that's Epsom. That's EPSOM. Epsom salt. So that's like, I'm not gonna get into that. But it's, how they have like bath bombs and all that. Doing those things, it opens your pores in your body and it makes you, what is it? I just had the word. It was exfoliate. It's exfoliating. So if you do something called exfoliating, I don't know how to spell that like by heart. That's a that's a strange word. Exfoliate. I was trying to figure out how I could spell it, but I'm gonna keep going. It's over 30 minutes. So y'all see I went on that rant about the fighting and all that stuff. So, but like I said, it works so well with the video because y'all see I end up talking about the pigs being hurt and like I said, I don't have a script. This isn't a script. This is just a list of things. But since I really do this, I could just go in. So that's soak in Epsom salt bath. Soak in an Epsom salt bath. And they have different types. They have Epsom salt, they have eucalyptus, lavender. Putting all those things in your bath, it does something spiritual to you. So, and it calms you down at the very least. It's like, how people in the movies, they be in a nice bath, they put the candles around and all that. They do bubble baths, all that good stuff. All that stuff is spiritual. Even taking a shower is spiritual. But unfortunately, I don't like taking showers every day. My phone already on 15%, man. That's crazy. All right, but like I said, I don't like taking showers every day because I believe that stuff is like the water. It has like chemicals in it, and if you if you do like this in the shower or have water in your nose, you could possibly get a parasite, and it's called an amoeba. And I hate to say the name because just saying the name is kind of that may be a cognitive hazard. You know what I mean? But that a flesh eating bacteria that literally eats your brain from the inside out, and you won't even know it. You'll just feel retarded, and I hate to say retarded, but you'll just feel stupid, or you won't be able to use your brain 100%. So, like I said, soak in an Epsom salt bath. The next one is I'm not really going to get into this one, but I'll say it for the black pill video. It's using crystals. So that's part of that new ageism of using. Remember I was talking about astrology and all that. That's all in that one space. Christianity doesn't recommend using crystals and all that because they have spiritual beings in them, and it attracts those beings. For example, I don't have any crystals, but if I did buy crystals like I anthrax, amaranth, or something like that. Crystals like that, and I would even say diamonds and all that, but specifically crystals that have that. I forget the name of the crystals. I have them in my phone, but I don't do that stuff. I'm just aware of the knowledge. So 31, 32 minutes. So that's used crystals. I don't recommend that, but it does raise your vibration. But if you don't use it correctly, it could lower your vibration. Like if you stop using the crystals in a good way, like you may experience like beings, like you actually see beings in your dreams or actually in person. Like I'm not gonna show my room because it's dirty, but like it'll be like a black figure in the corner. Like you could see a black figure on the side of your eye in your peripheral vision, and that's because people were using crystals. And a lot of people, they don't believe in that stuff until it's too late, and then they run over to Christianity. They go run over to their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and say, "Oh, forgive me," because I looked at witchcraft and crystals and all that stuff. Because a lot of women, and that's why a lot of women are in church. They was doing all this witchcraft, and they decided to not do it anymore, and they got lazy or whatever, or they decided to go against it. They want to pick and choose which laws to follow. So the bad entities came to them for having a low vibration, because having a low vibration, it will, because either way, the high vibrational beings will come to you if you're high vibrational, and it'll be, I don't know if it's malevolent or benevolent. I can't say that word. Benevolent or malevolent. I forgot which one's the harmful and which one's is a neutral being. But some are actually harmful. You would call them demons, but that's something totally different. They have low dimensional beings. They have extraterrestrials. They have intergalactic. They have interdimensional. It's just so much stuff. Like it sounds so crazy, but we're on Earth, so. And once again, we're the heart of the universe, if you will, because as you can see, there's nobody else but us and some animals. But if you raise your vibration, eventually you'll see these beings and all that. So, and whether you like it or not, they're still here, Because even though I don't see nobody, there could actually be people like around me right now, and I wouldn't even know it, And then I have my hair connected to everything, so my ancestors could be around. And I was gonna say raising your vibration, like eating all those good healthy foods, like being a vegan, we're possibly still connected to our ancestors and all that stuff. For example, my mom passed away in 2016, the same year I graduated. Can you believe that? The same year I graduated, my mom passed away due to multiple sclerosis, known as MS. So she possibly could still be with me right now. And, me eating, her favorite foods. Her favorite candy was that Ferrero Rocher or something like that. The gold wrapper with the little brown piece. So I could possibly eat those things, and she possibly could feel that in the spiritual realm, you know, as well as our ancestors. That's why a long time ago in ancient religions they liked chocolate and gold and all that type of stuff. They would eat gold, you know what I'm saying? And if you look at the homie 2 Chainz, he has a little thing called the most expensivest, and he's showing all that cool stuff. Like they have hamburgers where they put little gold sprinkles on it, but it'd be like $1,000 burger, you know. So eating that type of food, you're showing love to your ancestors, and they'll come to you and give you blessings and knowledge and all that stuff. So once again, like I said, I'm a Black Pill channel. I'm here to enlighten y'all. All this stuff is the truth. It's not. I guess you would call it pseudoscience, but you get to a point like how I'm sitting in silence and all that. Like you can feel it and you can hear it. So we on 15%, man. 11%, 36, and the thing, delayed and all that. So that's soak in Epstein. I was about to say Epstein salt. Can't have that. That's gonna put you to sleep. So soak in an Epsom salt bath. Use crystals, which I don't recommend unless you want to. Well, study it first, which is what I do. Because I remember a long time ago, if I had money, I would have bought all that stuff, and I would have been, spiritually destroyed, if not already. But I'm not spiritually destroyed, because I didn't do I didn't read the book. I didn't read all the books. I didn't do all that stuff. So I kind of just peeked in and peeked out. So, but a lot of people look at that stuff and they don't know that it's a cognitive hazard, like reading the Bible. Like you're not really supposed to be reading the Bible. Well, it shouldn't be forced on you. You know what I'm saying? Like as a baby, they shouldn't be making you read the Bible and all that stuff. Because it's a cognitive hazard. Once you learn that stuff, you can't unlearn it. So, and there's a lot of crazy information in that book. Because I still never read the whole Bible, but I read the first page. And I'm still a Christian though. You know what I'm saying? At the highest forms, I'm still a Christian. So, because I didn't read the Quran. The Jewish thing is called the Torah, is what I meant to say in my previous book. I mean, in my previous video, I called it the Cabal or whatever, but it's the Torah. But that's also a different book called the Kabbalion, which is with Hermes Trismegistus. But I'm talking about the Jewish culture and religion. That's the Torah, and they have the 150 laws and all that stuff. Then they have the Quran, which is Muslim. Then we have the Holy Bible, which is Christian. So, and once again, all those things are the truth, and we're supposed to all come together. But the Muslims, they cut people's heads off, and they cutting people's heads off for learning Christianity. And the African cultures, they doing the same thing. Like right now, even in North Korea, all these cultures, because it's a cognitive hazard learning this stuff. So, and they're sending people these holy Bibles and all that. They're teaching people of the ascended Master Jesus Christ. Because that's still an entity. You know what I mean? That's still a spiritual being. And a lot of cultures don't, whether it's good or bad, they don't want that forced on them. You know what I mean? But some people are being oppressed, because a lot of these dictators that lying to them and manipulating them, like Kim Jong-un, he makes it seem like he's God. And a lot of these people are worshiping him like a Jesus Christ type of figure. But he's not really that. He's just their dictator, and he has all the knowledge and all that type of stuff. Because he could be communion with their type of entities and beings, Because in Chinese cultures, they don't have Christianity per se. They have, I don't want to mix it up, but they have their own culture over there. And they don't really respect it in a way. Okay, so we're moving. Soak in Epsom salt bath. Use crystals. The next one is meditation, which is what I showed y'all as what I'm doing right here. So, meditation. But I'll show y'all the full thing, closing my eyes and all that. That's gonna be another video. Meditation and breath work and all that. and prayer. So meditation, going outdoors. You know how like I was outside for a long time grounding. You know, I was in the grass for about over an hour. Y'all literally seen me do it. So that's going outdoors. But going outdoors and doing what I did is two different things. Going outdoors is just, like I took a walk or something like that. That raises your vibration. So 40 minutes in? Let me hurry up, man, for this phone call. It's 9%. So go outdoors, take a break from technology, which is what I did. I deleted all my social medias. Not took a social media break. Well, first I took a social media break for a few days, and then I completely deleted my social media. So that's two totally different things. Because taking a break from social media is you still have in the back of your mind, oh, I could always go back and check things out. But if you 100% delete your social media, you'll be forced to do other things, which is, art, you know, spirituality, stuff like that. And then once again, I did this all during the pandemic, so it was such a vibe. That's why a lot of people missed that pandemic time because they was forced to be inside and they really had to get to know themselves and all that stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people are unhappy because they realize that some people some people didn't check up on them during the pandemic. Like my family, the pandemic happened. We didn't come together and say, "Hey, what are we gonna do?" That could have possibly been like the Black Plague, and that really could have killed us. You know what I mean? It was a lot of conspiracy theories going on at the time, and a lot of people aren't here to talk about this stuff. People like me, like they're homeless right now, like they're in the woods, either dead or they really down bad out there. But thank God I didn't. I played chess and I didn't get an apartment and all that stuff. Because once again, I'd be pissed. I would have lost my apartment. I I would have been around all these people during a crazy time. Once again, that could have been a civil war. If we didn't have our bread and circus and all that, people would have been wilding. That's why they just said fuck it and let everybody free. Because it's still around, by the way, the coronavirus and all that stuff. So y'all definitely be safe. But I'm not taking no vaccine, no none of that. So let's go outdoors, take a break from technology as well as social media and people in general. They say use your left brain, but your left brain consists of analysis, logic, idea, facts, math, and training. But I would really recommend y'all use your right brain to raise your vibration, which consists of creativity, intuition, arts, creation, feeling. My phone is on 5%, and it just see that's when I hate when it does this. The brightness gets low. 5%. All right. Let me hurry. I'm almost done, y'all. So use your left brain. So you can do both, but they say specifically use your left brain. But to raise your vibration, I would say creativity, intuition, arts, creation, feeling, and imagination, which is, spiritual. Okay. So they said use your left brain. Next is spend time near the ocean. So that's when I go to the harbor. We have that nice little trail, and we could see, like, we could just sit in the grass and really just see the ocean at the highest forms. Once again, I'll go out there. I meditate out there. But there's so many people that walk out there. I don't want somebody to just sneak up on me and just boom, because that's what people do, and it's very very terrifying. Like that's what they do to homeless people while they sleep. So I seen somebody. Well, I didn't see it, but well, I saw it on video. But in New York, this lady was sleeping on a train, and this illegal immigrant set the lady on fire, man, while she was asleep on the train. Like he just set it on fire, just set it on fire for the fuck of it. Just like what? Like people survived the pandemic to just act like that. A legal immigrant saw a woman sleeping, lit a match, and set her on fire. She couldn't move. She was still on fire and all that stuff. And there was video of it. Like she was still in place on fire. And she tried to move and all that, but she was so like burnt to a crisp. I hate to say that, but she had like degree burns and all that. I don't know how many degree burns, but it was fatal. Okay. So like I said, I would say spend time near the ocean. My phone's on 3%, man. All right, let me knock this out. Spend time near the ocean, get some rest and sleep, make someone smile, help someone you love, and avoid judgment. So that's how to raise your vibration. 3%. I'll say it one more time. Practice gratitude, dance freestyling, sing loud and proud, go vegan, soak in an Epsom salt bath, use crystals, meditate, go outdoors, take a break from technology, use your left brain and or right brain, spend time near the ocean, get some rest and sleep. And rest and sleep is two different things. So y'all gotta search that up. Get some rest and sleep, make someone smile, help someone you love, and avoid judgment. And we go from there. My phone is on 2%, and I gotta go downstairs and charge my phone and do the editor. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. I know y'all did. So, and we go from there, man. That was how to raise your vibration. Like I said, I don't recommend doing the crystals yet. You should be doing your research first. Like I said, you can research all this stuff is on Google. Everybody has Google, everybody has Safari. My phone's on 2%. Everybody has Safari. Look at this. Hold on, I'm gonna show y'all what I was talking about. Check this out. It's 553. Now if I waited just a few more minutes, it's 1%. If I waited a few more minutes, it would have been 555. So I told y'all the spiritual connection of numerology. All right, I'm charging my phone 1%. I don't want to cut off on me. Love y'all so much. Enjoy the video.